race solvency counter plan and try to sum it up at the end.
Okay.
Okay. All right, BizCon. First of all, racism outweighs. Cross-applied our Berube card, that dehumanization outweighs. Reapplied our framework, the Callahan card, that they're giving a consequential reason to reject immoral action. They're immoral. You can't weigh the indirect effects of an action. Cross-applied our Worth card. Negate their impacts because we're winning the moral framework. It's important to end dehumanization. It's more important, to end dehumanization than to prevent something that may be unpreventable and will happen hundreds of years from now. Onto racism. All of their arguments are mitigation. We win the framework because we solve for more racism. We solve more racism. We solve for it better, more effectively, and more lasting by bringing children of different races together in educational settings. You may have a slight increase in short-term racism, which is all their cards, which is what their cards are all talking about. But the impact in the long run is the overall solvency. We're going to change the minds of children and eradicate racism over time. Only by desegregation and teaching children at such a young age can you solve for racism in the long run. You can't solve. You might have an increase in racism in the short run, but overall, over time, you're going to get rid of racism, and this is something that they haven't answered, and that wins us the case. All their claims are mitigation in regards to the short-term increase. We outweigh in the long run. The long-run benefits outweigh the slight increase in the short run. Cross-apply our Callahan card that focusing on the need to survive results in panic that leads to sacrifices worse than life, such as dehumanization. We're solving for more dehumanization in the long run once again. We're solving in the long run better, more effectively, and more lasting. They have no lasting solvency. Onto solvency. The only way to solve for racism in the long run is to remove the legal barrier of Milligan. The counterplan doesn't do this. State legislatures could, roll back the counterplan. The Supreme Court could roll back the only way to solve for racism is to remove the legal barrier to reform. The U.S. Supreme Court must overrule Milligan, or the state courts will be susceptible to the court's ruling. The only way to end segregation in the school systems is to remove the legal principle of the Supreme Court, is to remove Milligan. The counterplan doesn't even claim to do this at all. They're just claiming to somehow, in the short run, provide some kind of desegregation. But that won't last in the long run. How long will it take until a case is brought before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court just upholds Milligan? The only way to end desegregation permanently in the long run for a lasting solvency is to overrule Milligan, which is what the plan does, and which is why the plan solves better and more lasting. Onto counterplan. Just to reemphasize that they can't guarantee solvency. They don't remove the legal barriers of Milligan. Only the U.S. Federal Supreme Court can do this. Just to reemphasize, we're winning the racism in the long run. We're winning dehumanization in the long run, and this all outweighs the extinction impact of something that could happen hundreds of years from now. And in regards to the counterplan, they have no solvency in the long run. All their solvency is the short run, which will be overrun, in months or days of the Supreme Court upholding Milligan. The only way to solve in this case is to overrule Milligan. That's why you must vote F.